Hi guys, so we are going to have a little basic 101 nutrition chat today in regards to our hormone health, because there's a lot of this stuff going on, a lot of misconceptions, and it's really frustrating because I see women who are trying so hard, who really just want to do the best for their health. They want to feel their best, they want to look their best, they want their hormones to be in check and in balance, and yet we're doing things in our day-to-day life which we think are good for us, but it's actually having such detrimental long-term effects on our hormone health. And one thing in particular I'm talking about is whey protein powder, and it seems to be one of these things that people have so deeply ingrained into us. It's such a social construct that we believe that if we're exercising, we must be supplementing with protein. Another misconception, if we're following a vegetarian diet, we must be supplementing with protein, and it's really not the case. And whey protein in particular is really damaging to our hormone health, because whey is concentrated protein which is extracted from obviously milk sources, and one of the first things that we're doing wrong is the fact that we shouldn't be ingesting that amount of protein powder in one serving, in my opinion. So a lot of these protein powders are going to have anywhere from 20 grams of protein right up to 50 grams of protein per serve. And you just do not need that amount of protein. Even if you've just done a high intensity weight session, you do not need to be taking that much amount of protein. Taking that much amount at once is very hard work on our kidney health to break it down. And actually, it's very toxic. When we're breaking down protein from the whey source in particular, the residue is like a urea, a uric acid, which is extremely acidic for the body and very damaging to our kidney health. On top of this, it's very congestive for the digestive system. And we know that our digestive system and our ability to absorb nutrients, assimilate nutrients, and move waste product through our digestive system is so detrimental to hormone health. Now, colon toxicity, you hear me talk a lot about colon congestion. It leads to the buildup of what we would call, for lack of a better word, bad hormones. Okay, so we have so much xenoestrogens in our environment that we're all exposed to, and they're building up in our systems. And these are the things that are driving our painful periods, our mood swings, our skin breakouts, infertility, miscarriages, all these sorts of things. And if your colon health and digestive health isn't moving through properly, in the sense we're having 2 to 3 bowel motions in a 24-hour period, we're getting a build of these bad hormones, these bad xenoestrogens, and they're playing havoc with our hormone balance. Okay, so we've got the acidity, we've got the congestion factor, we've got the build of the uric acid. Now, one thing is a big, massive misconception as well, which I want to go on, because I was that girl as well who struggled big time in my 20s with body image and wanting to have the weight that I wanted. And I was working out like a demon, 5 days a week minimum, quite often twice a day at the gym. And so it's like we have this period, we think that if we're working out at the gym, we have to take a protein powder. It's not the case, and here's why. Because if you're trying to consciously bulk up and you're trying to build that big booty, those big thighs, yes, you need more calories in your diet. So taking a protein powder may be something that's beneficial for you. So if you're a bodybuilder, by all means, keep doing what you're doing. But when we look at it from a hormone point of view, it doesn't help with weight loss the way people think it does. Okay, yes, if you're having really high amounts of protein, you may inadvertently be taking in less carbohydrates. But since when did carbs become the enemy? That's your first mistake also. Low carbs leads to adrenal exhaustion, okay? Post-exercise, you have to replace your glycogen stores, which you lose from your muscles when you exercise. And if you're not replacing that with a form of carbohydrate, big news, bad news. You know, we're talking about long-term problems with our brain health as well, increased risk of Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that. Your skin health is going to suffer dramatically in terms of shrinking, because it affects our estrogen levels as well. So carbohydrates post-training is really important. Yes, of course, there's a big difference between good carbs and bad carbs, and I'm not going to go into that in this video because I'm really trying to zone in on the protein stuff at this point. But I just want you guys to stop thinking that we need to be loading our bodies up with protein. The other big thing when we look at our hormone health is whey protein, which of course is dairy derived. It's very congestive, it's very mucus forming. It leads to the formation of cysts, and this is what's bad news for our ovaries. So I'm finding, even though 1 in 8 women are now being diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome or disease, they're quite similar, I'm finding so many women, I'm saying 1 in 2, actually are forming tiny little cysts on their ovaries from month to month. Now, these cysts can come and go, but they are going to affect your ability to ovulate and then basically conceive. Because what happens is protein congestion from the form of whey, it's very congested. I'm telling you, it moves through the digestive tract very, very slowly. It builds up in our colon. It leads to toxicity in our colon. Your colon wraps directly around your ovaries. And any of that junk, toxicity, crap that's stuck in your colon naturally ends up leaching into our ovaries and our uterus. It becomes this dumping ground for a lot of that toxicity. And you've got to keep in mind, pregnancy and hence hormone health is not necessary for your survival. So your body is going to prioritize dumping toxins into your reproductive system over dumping them in your brain or your heart, because we need those to stay alive. So this is why we see when people's health starts to go down, our fertility and our periods are one of the first things that start to fall off track, because your body just goes, well, we need to make a decision here, keep her alive or keep her in a fertile window. The body's always going to choose your health before sustaining another life's health first. So we get all these tiny little cysts forming on top of our ovaries, okay? And these cysts mean that the body is basically encapsulating toxins on the ovaries to basically try and stop them from penetrating into the ovaries. But because we're getting all these tiny little cysts, we're not forming a dominant follicle each month, which means we're not getting that ovulation occurring. So it's really, really important. Now, post-exercise, if you are someone who is exercising and you want to recover well, you don't want to be tired, fatigued, you don't want that muscle soreness, one of the best post-exercise recovery things you can do for yourself is just an alkalizing green formula. So, there's so many different things. You can go to all your health food stores and buy them. There's no one that I'm going to shout out over another. Things like barley grass, wheat grass, spirulina, chlorella, all these beautiful things. I personally take broccoli sprout. It's slightly higher price point than some of your standard barley grass, but broccoli will have an inadvertent effect where it will stimulate your liver detoxification pathways and clear out some of that excess estrogen as well. So that's why I choose that one. Because I am someone that definitely has a high affinity for estrogen dominance from absorbing these sources from our environment, because I have an MTHFR gene mutation, because it's genetic, because there's all these other factors. So post-recovery, it's about clearing out that acidity, that lactic acid that builds up during our exercise. And it's just about putting good quality carbohydrates and, a decent whole balanced meal in. That's what's going to help you. There's other key things you can be doing, which every gym has a sauna these days. Go sit in a sauna for 15 minutes post-gym. Flood your body with lots of water, ideally ionized water. If you're really worried about muscle fatigue, like I said, muscle soreness is normal also. Let's remember that. Muscle soreness is really normal, because when you're actually doing a workout, you're actually tearing your muscle fibers, and that's how then the body repairs that, and that's how we get the remodeling, the toning, and the growth of our muscles. So soreness is actually a good thing. Soreness that goes on for 3 or 4 days means you're not recovering right. But you've got to look at your sleep. You've got to look at your diet overall, and you've got to look at the rest periods in between heavy weight sessions, water intake, and nutrition, and like I said, this alkalizing blend of some sort. That's all you need to be focusing on. Do not be taking whey protein powder if you think you want to take it to lose weight. It's one of the biggest misconceptions we get around. When I was taking whey protein after a gym session, I was 10 kilos heavier than what I am now, and wondering why I wasn't lose weight, because you don't need to be clogging up your system with all this protein. People get really caught on macros. So this is like your protein, fats, carbs. And a protein has less calories in it than what a carbohydrate molecule has in it. So we think, lower our calories, cut down carbs. But carbs are so essential for hormone health. You have to be getting a good amount of carbs if you want your adrenal glands to be functioning properly. You cut your carbs out and you're already stressed, guarantee you eventually it's going to play havoc with your hormones and your menstrual cycle. So I think that's the main point I wanted to get across. You do not need to use protein powder. Definitely throw it out the window if you're using it to try and lose weight. Yes, there are some diets out there, things like your Lady Shake and these meal replacement shakes. I'm personally not a fan. Yes, there's a place for them if you're needing to lose weight quickly. It's not sustainable in the long run. It can do more harm than good on your adrenal health. Because remember, if your adrenals get flagged because they think your body's stressed and not doing well, we go into a state of fight and flight, which means we're producing more cortisol, more adrenaline, which signals your brain and your body and your liver to deliberately shut down your production of body fat and keep your level of carbohydrates high in your blood levels, so we have a quick source of fuel to your brain and your muscles so that we can run and fight away from danger. We don't want to be running in a state of fight and flight and existing in a state of danger all day, every day. That will definitely screw with your hormones long term and will definitely muck with your ability to lose weight. I see women in clinic all the time who did radical diets, whether that be a shake diet, or ketogenic diets, or even HCG diets, like these radical calorie restriction diets, and they lose the weight, but then 6 months later it's all back on again, and some, because the body was in a state of stress and now it's going, oh God, panic, we had a calorie deficit there, now we need to actually bulk up and keep some in reserve in case that happens again. Your body didn't see that as a health thing, you going on a radical diet and losing weight quickly. Your body saw that as danger. So I think I've covered the main thing I want to say there in regards to what you should be taking post-recovery. Just really, if you've got any questions, please reach out to me and I can answer them in regards to recovery. But honestly, forget about whey protein, okay? If you must take a protein powder and you're worried about your protein intake, definitely be looking at a plant-based source, so we can look at things like pea protein, hemp protein. In my post-exercise recovery shake, I will have hemp seeds, a big heap tablespoon, which is going to give me about 8 grams of protein, so it's a good amount of protein, and it's easy to break down. It's also got your essential fatty acids. Occasionally I'll use a plant-based protein, but not actually because I think I need it for recovery. It's very rare that I'll use one, but sometimes there might be a reason if I'm just trying to bulk things up in terms of what I'm taking. In regards to I think they're the main things I want to show. But post-recovery, so I'll have my my greens formula, and I'll have a superfood formula. So that's going to have different things in days. And this is going to be things like, usually quite often there's herbs in my superfood formulas. I'll do some posts on those. But herbs in them, mushrooms, I'm a big fan of super mushrooms. Just high antioxidant superfoods essentially. So acai, maca, variation of all those two things. Piece of fresh fruit for the carbohydrates, generally a banana, always a plant-based milk, and always a sweetener. I always put maple syrup in there because I want it to taste good. You want to enjoy that post-shake recovery, and if you're adding a whole heap of superfood powders and stuff like that in it, it's possible that you can lose the taste. So I always put some beautiful organic maple syrup in as well. Most importantly, Katie, my beautiful girl, is asking, I'd love to hear your story about how you dropped the excess weight. It's such a real challenge. Yeah, it can be a massive challenge because we need to, and I know you know this, babe, but it's very much about listening to the body and slowing down. From a physical point of view, you have to correct the adrenal stuff, and quite often you do need to overhaul your diet from a different approach. I'm a massive fan of plant-based living, and plant-based living has to be done correct though. You have to be getting good carbs in there. You have to be getting good quality essential fatty acids and good proteins. I actually reduced the amount of exercise I was doing. I was overtraining. So I went from training 6 days a week to training twice a week. And that was a big thing for me in surrendering and trusting that my body knew what it was doing. But it was more about the lifestyle things that I implemented. So it was about getting my body into a state where it could detoxify very, very quickly. So for those of you who don't know my background, when I hit adrenal fatigue, I was carrying an extra 14 kilos. I was already up about 5 kilos and then put on 8 kilos very, very quickly in about a 3-month period. I lost it all within a year, exercising moderately, implementation of coffee enemas regularly. So I'm talking, I was doing a coffee enema generally 6 days a week. I stopped eating meat at that point. I was eating meat prior to that. I started having juice every day. So I would start a form of intermittent fasting. So where I would have a cold pressed juice for breakfast, and then I wouldn't eat lunch until about midday every single day. So I would have a litre of water as soon as I would wake up with some lemon juice in it. Because that gets the digestive acids going, starts to alkalize. And then I would also, I still do all these things, cold pressed juice. Basically, a big thing I find, if there's an adrenal thing going on, you've got to get that body out of danger. So it's not just about stopping things that are stressful, it's changing your way of being and thinking. So setting boundaries is a big one, emotionally, spiritually. Really choosing to follow your soul purpose is a big one as well, rather than staying stuck in a job that you hate or staying in a relationship that's not fulfilling, and that goes for friendships as well. And and really stopping and incorporating some solid spiritual practices into your life is really important too. So that could be meditating, it could be mindfulness. There's lots of different things we can do in regards to that. Liver health, really, really, really important. Our livers are just so congested and so overloaded and so just overwhelmed and burdened. So we need to do detoxing gently. So I'm a big fan of doing long-term gentle detoxification, like almost, I'm not saying all day, every day, but I personally, I do my 3-day juice fast 3 or 4 times a year, and that's a little 3-day burst to cleanse out the colon and give the liver a break. But essentially, it's about living a lifestyle that's conducive for liver health. So I'll take liver herbs on and off throughout the year. I will, I have saunas regularly. I do make enemas regularly. I've cut out animal products because I don't think they're good for liver health. What other liver detoxy things do I do? Drinking really good quality water is very, very, very important. I think they're kind of the main things, but it's also, I use a process of kinesiology to really look at what your body is trying to do for you. And yeah, with the 3-day juice fasting, I didn't lose weight initially, but once you do them a few times, then your body goes yes, and it gets into that regime of trusting and being allowed to let go and stuff like that as well. But I can't recommend the 3-day juice break 3 or 4 times a year for 3 days. Is one of the best things you'll do, and over a couple of years time your skin health will improve dramatically. There's lots of improvements of doing those for sure. Anyway, I kind of diverted a little bit, which is beautiful. Thank you for the beautiful questions, my lovely Katie. But that's the main thing I want to get over. So many people are loading their bodies full of whey protein, which is so bad for our health, especially most of it's not organic. And even if you are using an organic one, sorry, but big deal. It's still congestive. It's still acidic. It's still just completely unnecessary for your body. You know what, babe? 80% green veggie. I don't buy into that. I don't know if you're talking about diet in general or juicing. I don't think you can do it wrong. If you're juicing, it's beneficial for your body. It's flooding your body with antioxidants. It's flooding your body with vitamins and minerals. It's you can't stuff it up. Okay, fruits and vegetables are so good for your body and so good. The thing that you got to remember about the juice fast is also that I love, that I want to point out, is the antioxidants and the living enzymes. They actually start to dissolve plaque and calcification within the body as well. So they clear our arteries, they clear our veins, it clears our skin. So if you've got congestion and stuff going on, it helps to even clear, people get lipomas and stuff like that, like fatty deposits and things. Juicing is one of the best things that you can do for that. It is far more beneficial for you than taking any multivitamin tablet you will ever do. Even though I'm a big fan of superfood powders and I put them in my smoothies and stuff like that, they're still second to a fresh cold pressed juice. You should be having one every single day. It's one of the best things that you can do for your health ongoing for the rest of your life. That's above my number one health tip, above absolutely anything that you can ever do for your health, is to have a cold pressed juice every single day. So if you don't own a cold pressed juicer, start putting away $10 a week, $20 a week until you can get one. You can buy a really good quality ones, and I can drop the link one for about $220 now. You can spend $500, $600, and they're amazing. They're worth the money. By all means, go out and buy those. But if you can only get a $220 one to begin with, do it. And it'll last you a long time anyway. If you can't try out herbs regarding detoxing, supporting your liver, that's beautiful. Yeah, so that's fine. So this is where things like lemon juice and water is really good. Saunas is going to be really good for you. I'm a huge big fan of the Healy, the biofrequency energy. So frequency healing, to get that same in. You can deliver nutrition from the Healy device if you don't tolerate supplements. It's a really, really good thing to look at as well. So ask me more about that if anyone doesn't know about those. Diet, yes, also very important. You've got to get the basics right with your diet. And that's, like I said, I'm not an all-in-all preacher of a plant-based diet for everyone. I think that you can eat meat safely, but cut it down 75% to what you're already eating. I think that you really shouldn't be eating meat no more than twice a week if you're choosing to eat meat. We don't need it. We don't need it for it. You get all the vitamins and minerals that you get from meat, you can get from fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds. The reason I don't love it is because it's so much hard work on your liver. It's very congestive for the digestive system. Yes, of course, we've got the inhumaneness going on with the animals as well. But it's just that it's congestive and it's heavy. If you tolerate it, fine, have it a couple of times a week. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're craving it, having it a couple of times, but you do not need it for health. And especially if you're not eating 100% organic meat, you are getting so many antibiotics, so many hormones and absolute rubbish that's being pumped into your system that your liver has to try and break down and digest. I cannot recommend it even anymore. To really experiment with going vegetarian for 3 months. And then after 3 months, you will have completely revamped your endocrine system and detoxed your liver dramatically if you just do that one thing. And then after 3 months, check in. Do I feel like adding meat back in? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. But if you can give yourself a 3-month break, when I'm working with clients one-on-one and we take them through the Balance Babe 7-step hormone healing system, minimum 3 months, we get them off meat. Now, occasionally some of those girls might, I broke out and I had a bit of meat randomly here and then that 3 months. And that's okay. It's all right. The main thing is we're really dramatically cutting down that meat so we can give the liver a chance to heal, so we can give the body a chance to get alkaline again, to clear out our digestive system. Like our digestive health and our gut health, everyone, it's the hot topic, I know, but if your gut health is not right, you cannot have balanced hormones. You cannot have a healthy production of serotonin and those happy hormones and neurotransmitters. You can't heal. You'll never be out of a state of adrenal dysfunction. Your immune system will never be thriving. And I do believe that going on a detox of meat for 3 months is one of the major steps that you need to do in order to really revamp your system and get that back in check as well. So I might leave it there, guys, because I think I've covered most everyone's questions. But yeah, basic nutrition 101. And like I said, going plant-based, not saying going plant-based 100%, but you 80%, like I said, meat 2-3 times a week max is all you need. If that's all you should be having if you're choosing to have meat. You don't even need it. But like, you know, socially you might go to people's houses or whatever and have it then, but don't keep eating it thinking that it's doing your body a favor. It's congestive, especially if you can't lose weight. Yeah, can't recommend getting off that highly. Anyway, I love you all. I'm gonna leave. Big love. Talk soon.